Hello! Last time we left off, we made a massive platform and gathered all the Tier 1 space sciences. Now we just need to use them. And in order to use this platform to its highest potential, I finally automated the rocket delivery system. And even automated a way for the rocket parts to come back down. May have been doing this all by hand, probably should have done this a while ago, but hey, it's done now. I would have loved to show you me setting up my rocket array and connecting every requester chest together, so every chest was requesting the exact same stuff, which was pretty awkward to deal with, but my computer storage decided to randomly die, so I lost all of that footage, along with everything else I had saved on this computer. All I can say is thank God for Steam Cloud Save. All of my settings also went back to default, including these combinators not showing their signals anymore, and I don't want to say how long it took me to find this button. I will say that I did open this menu more than once before finding it though. But none of that matters because it's time to research a bunch of random stuff I don't really need but want to anyways. Once I send up more copper, that is, because I seem to keep running out of data cards. I feel like I'm going through a lot of them. And since I have it all automated, I refuse to help. So I'll just watch the bots do it for me. Automation at its finest. Each rocket has their own specified landing pad and the rocket parts get taken away by the bots and sent into the return rocket. The only thing I need to do is make sure I don't run out of the resources. But I'm not really the best at that. Including my other planets, as we'll have to make a couple of stops. Trax is not making any holmium, as I may have accidentally severed an important power connection before leaving the planet. And Jetinary ran out of coal. I didn't bring enough roboports to either of these planets to fix them from the comfort of novice, so I should probably bring a lot more with me in case I have to do this again, as soon as I can figure out where their assembler is. But before we go fix those, I need more uranium. I wonder what those black dots are. The first stop, Jetinary. Nothing exciting happened except I was splitting the coal, so I made sure to keep coal flowing in both directions. Then I ran out of belts, so I started replacing some of the belts with underground belts, which got me thinking, where exactly does the other coal belt go? Oh, to my plastic chemical plants that I'm not using. Well, if I ever need more belts, I know what line to remove. Next up, tracks, as I kinda need holmium for pink science. Very important. It does look like a meteor did get through my defenses and destroy another power pole, so even if I didn't mess it up, it still wouldn't have worked. Makes me feel slightly better, but I still need to repair it. Which did not take any time once I arrived on this planet. Actually, it seems that the only planet that is working correctly is Granus, where I get my iridium for yellow science, so I may as well start researching all that stuff now. I should probably send up more iridium though, except it actually doesn't look like it's working that well. My sulfuric acid pipe seems to have dried up. Oh yeah! There is still some sulfuric acid still in these miners, and if I deleted the miners it would also delete the acid inside, so I was just gonna wait until they dried up before I removed them. Yeah, but that was about 8 hours ago. So this planet has not been making much iridium in the past 8 hours. Shit. There are also just a bunch of buildings on this planet that I no longer need, and if I get rid of them, I'll have a lot more room in the middle of my base to move around resources that I actually need, as I tend to like to build things very close to one another. This planet should now also be good. Huh, a biter attack. Well, if this keeps up, I know what next planet I'll have to go to, but for now, I'll just ignore it. But I don't know how long I'll be able to do that for. Now back to the main part. It is officially time to start researching. Once I make a more permanent area for trains to go if they're not doing anything, because this is not going to work. My trains will have their own dedicated block, and once it's built, it worked pretty well. The other nice thing is that if I'm ever looking for a certain train, I can always check here first, as my list is starting to get confusing to look at. This also means that I can remove my old setup. Oops. Well, I hope that gets repaired. We can start researching everything under the sun, make my character faster, stronger, and more intelligent, apparently. Should probably get that one first though. Random buildings because they're cheap? Ooh, and thermal radiating efficiency. Now when I cool 500 thermo fluid, I only lose 1 instead of losing 10. That doesn't seem like a massive amount, but I'm sure it is. Enough iridium has also been collected so we can start actually researching those things from earlier, or we could just get this railgun. And now we just sit back and relax and let the factory do its job. I may actually just be waiting for this rocket to fill up with holmium before I leave, but we'll go with the first thing. It is so nice when everything works correctly and you don't have to spend all of your time bug fixing your factory. You can watch everything unfold and do absolutely nothing. Actually, wait a second. The research bar has not moved in like 5 minutes. Let's see why. I'm not making the science because I don't have any yellow data. I don't have any yellow data because I don't have any green canisters. I don't have any green canisters because I'm missing a green data card. And that's because I have no biocultures. And that's because I'm storing 25,000 contaminated biosludge. My contaminated biosludge train seems to be full. It's sitting at another spot where I'm also storing another 25,000 contaminated biosludge. I never set up this train to dump all this biosludge once it got full. So now everything is overflowing with contaminated biosludge. But on the plus side, that's going to make a lot of biosludge. It would also explain why I was running through so much vitamelange extract. I distinctly remember saying 15,000 was a lot in the last video, but how about 125,000? Yeah, that's going to be a lot of biosludge. But we are now getting yellow data cards, which means the railgun research should finish any moment now. I also seem to have 300 blank data cards just sitting in this chest. How come my train hasn't come to pick them up yet? Oh, that's because I also set that train up wrong too. With how many data cards I have to make up here, it'd be very helpful if I actually reuse them instead of just filling up a chest with 300. What a waste. Yeah, it actually turns out that wasn't the only chest with blank data cards waiting to be picked up. The train picked up more than 2,000 collectively, and more than 1,000 from this one chest. This would also explain why. Once I send up more copper, that is, because I seem to keep running out of data cards. I feel like I'm going through a lot of them. A railgun has finally been researched, only took like 30 more minutes than it should have. I also ran into a problem that I'm now overflowing with biosludge and I don't know what to do with it all. So I'll get the train to dump a little bit more at each block. 2,000 biosludge pumped in. Perfect. Huh. I'm gonna need to switch the condition of inactivity for 2 seconds, as I don't think this train's gonna leave anytime soon. I also found out what got me in this mess in the first place. The contaminated biosludge train will only leave this station when there's no more contaminated biosludge in this storage tank. And something is telling me that's never gonna happen. Oh, hey, it's my nutrient train. I am still waiting for this rocket to fill with holmium. Oh cool, another meteor. As I was saying, I am still waiting for this rocket to fill with holmium, so it's about time that I expand my holmium production. Okay, maybe that wasn't a meteor. That is definitely the delivery cannon doing all this damage, so I'll need to go turn that off and try to figure out why Granus doesn't have any power. My nuclear reactors don't have any water because the pipe is missing. I wonder what caused that. I'll have a lot more room in the middle of my base to move around resources that I actually need. Anyways, crisis averted, power's back online, so I should be able to turn the delivery cannon back online. Okay, maybe I should have waited a little bit longer before I turned that back on. And by a little bit later, I mean I was editing this footage down and I realized that I actually never turned it back on. There was still luckily over 1,000 ice in the box, so nothing bad happened. But this shows you the power of editing. It lets me find my mistakes before they are a problem. And usually I'm able to tell where I messed something up. But not in this case. I still don't know how this happened. I put this train on manual, as we can all see. So this should mean the train should only do something if I manually drive the train. I then added 3 more cars so it can haul more holmium, except I only had 2, so I had to go build one. And look at this! Where the hell is it going? I make the car and bring stuff to expand my holmium mines. Where's the train? It went over here for some reason, because it decided it wanted to go back to the station it was already at, and this was the shortest path to reach its destination. And to top it all off, my cryonite train has now arrived, confused why it can't get to my cryonite mine. Well, time to walk all the way up there. Also, this entire time, the research bar has not increased either, which is a little bit more important than a train going AWOL. I am producing the science, but it also creates a byproduct of junk data cards, and the chest is full with 4,800. That's a lot of data cards. A lot more than 300, and a lot more than the 1,000 in the other chest. But it gets better. I have all 4 space sciences that create these as a byproduct, and they all have their own chest. Pink science, 4,000. Blue science, another 4,800. And finally green science, 4,800. And the train, 2,000. All because I seem to be really good at setting up my conditions wrong. I set this up so well that I actually got to watch the train drive around the block 2 times before it started unloading. Again, 100% my fault. I've been having these data card problems for A while now. I've been sending up a lot of them, and that's because I have minimum 20,000 junk data cards just chilling in chests. And also, some of the data cards also have them as a byproduct, and I didn't check a single one of those chests. And I'm kinda happy I didn't. I can reformat them with a 70% chance to get a blank one back, and a 29% chance for it to break, which you can't do anything with, so they'll just go to the recycler. I don't know about you, but I don't like those odds, and that's because if I get this research, I could turn that 70% into 80%, which would give me an extra 2,000 data cards. So it is now my mission to research that upgrade. I just need tier 3 pink signs to do it. But I also need data cards to do it, so I'll let this train do its thing, and worry about other stuff. So let's get back to the more important matters, like my trains. And I don't mean my haunted holmium train, I mean my space trains. Because they finally got stuck in my resupply. Or did they? They actually didn't. Well, they kinda did, but what I mean is that this train decided to fall asleep in the middle of my resupply. And he's blocking every other train. But that's not the best part. The best part is that this is my vulcanite train, not the iridium train like one would think. I switched the iridium and vulcanite chest, and also the holmium and cryonite chest, because both cryonite and vulcanite can stack up to 200, while iridium bars stack to 20 and holmium bars stack to 50. So since a rocket can hold a lot more cryonite and vulcanite, I decided to give him the chest with 6 inserters instead of 4. Now you may be wondering how this is important, and I will let you know, my young jelly bean. My hypothesis is that when I changed the chest, I also copy and pasted the train stations on top of each other. So I was wondering if changing the name of the train station also changed the stations in the condition as they're linked to the station and not the name. However, this theory immediately falls apart because right behind the supposed vulcanite train is my iridium train trying to get to that station. And both the cryonite and holmium train are also working completely fine, so when I asked you if you were wondering how this was important, I don't actually have a good reason to why it is important, and I have no idea how this happened. I would almost check my old footage to maybe see how this happened when I was setting up the train in the first place, but broken computer storage and all makes that kinda difficult. Since I couldn't put the iridium back in the chest as it was full, I sent that train around to dump all the iridium in chests around the platform and fixed all the conditions. And then all of my trains were still stuck, but that's just because I forgot to turn these inserters around. So they weren't actually stuck. Now back to the ghost train. It's pretty far up here. I still can't believe that this happened. I'll have to manually shimmy the trains back and forth, and hopefully they'll stay manual while I do it. Add the final car before he can run off again, and then ram him in the face. By accident. I really thought I was holding the right button, but I guess I wasn't. And then for some reason, the final car was almost dead. Well, this was actually because the cryonite train did not like Minas Turf, so at least one mystery has been solved. Oh, and I still forgot to add the global sleep condition on my vulcanite train, which is different than the vulcanite sleep condition. So it just kinda sat there. But once I added that condition, it couldn't leave, because this train was in the next signal, also stuck. So, that would mean that finally, my trains have gotten stuck inside my resupply legitly. It was also very simple to fix. So we'll get to watch all the trains resupply and leave the area, except my iron train, because I don't have enough iron to fill it. So we'll have to get this rocket to request more. All of my current issues have been solved. I now have stockpiled 3,100 blank data cards, all from my junk data cards, which was disappointing to know that if I actually reformatted my junk data cards, I would have a supply of data cards instead of always having to make them. But do you want to know something even more disappointing? This thermofluid is not the right color. Here's the same setup working correctly about an hour ago with the correct thermofluid, and now this setup has the wrong thermofluid. I also have no idea how this happened, even more than the ghost train. With the train, I'm guessing that the bots placed the cars and for some reason it turned it from manual to automatic. But with this, I have zero clue where this thermofluid came from. The correct train is sitting at this station. The train that has this thermofluid doesn't have a condition to go anywhere near this station. And I also couldn't even find a station set up incorrectly. This time's important. This is the greatest mystery I was unable to remotely solve, but I just trashed the thermofluid and it hasn't happened again since, so I don't really know, nor do I really care. I also now have 4,500 data cards, even more than 3,100. I also still have an absolute shit ton of contaminated biosludge, and also now just a shit ton of regular biosludge. So it's time to start researching Mining Productivity 6. If you don't know what that does, it doesn't matter. All you need to know is that it takes 7,500 green science, and hopefully my biosludge will be converted into the green science. But I'm not really making any green science because I'm not making any nutrient fats. Because I still don't have any iron on this platform. So, let's request even more iron. With iron finally on the platform, we can watch the research curve go up. So why did it go down and flatline? Oh, the junk data card train hasn't gotten to this chest yet. This is fun. So what's more exciting? The fact that I got almost 6,000 data cards now just chilling in storage? The fact that I got 900 destroyed data cards in the trash train? Or the fact that I got 4,000 destroyed data cards already at my recycling plant, and now 1,700 in the train? That's a lot of destroyed data cards. I now for some reason no longer want to waste that many data cards on the 7,500 green science, so maybe I should work towards a better data card efficiency. Astronomic Science Pack 2, because why not? And no, this is not required for the better formatting. Neither is Biologic Science Pack 2, which I'm not researching, because my train still hasn't got there. To get Supercomputer 2, we need Tier 3 Energy Science, and also Tier 2 because I haven't built that either. So we're going to expand vertically by adding the blocks for each tier and their data cards, but before we add the buildings in each block, I have a biter attack on my hands, and it's in a spot where one shouldn't be. This is a problem. I still had a couple laser turrets in storage, which was very lucky, but now I need to take a second and actually deal with these. So I get to head over to Big Grid, the planet that is biter meteors, where biters spawn from the meteors that land. So I'm guessing a meteor was able to sneak past my defenses. Just like one did immediately on Granus after, severing my oil pipes again. Damn, meteor defenses can't keep up. Spawners destroyed, and now I need to check the area again just to make sure they didn't expand without me noticing. Actually, maybe I didn't get hit by a meteor, and it was all from that one worm. Nah, I trust him 100%. And since we're here, may as well push out the turret line and push the biters out of the pollution ring. Except I didn't bring any roboports with me to this planet either. Probably should have prepared a little bit more before coming over here with a rocket, but I did not. So we won't do that. We needed Vitamelange anyways, so we can take this rocket back to the platform, and it would seem that this rocket is already filled with Vitamelange, because I didn't rotate one of the inserters. Accidentally, pretty convenient. Tier 2 pink science, complete. Now we just need to research Tier 3, along with whatever else we need to research it so we can get efficient data card formatting. Ooh, and we'll also get this too for even more efficient yellow card production. Just like before, we need the blocks for Tier 3. Fill them in one by one, and then run out of platforms. So we'll improvise and remove some of the already placed platforms, as most of my blocks don't even have any. Do be careful, however, when doing this, as it does have the potential to crash your game, or at least destroy your frame rate. So we'll do a tiny area and then wait. But in the meantime, I've been getting warned about a coronal mass ejection that is targeting... I forget. Oh yeah, Bacillus orbit. Except I don't have anything there. And it's the sun. Here's my solar system, and here's Bacillus. We're pretty far away from each other, so I don't know why it's getting hit. But it hit the area nonetheless, doing absolutely nothing as I don't have anything there. So we'll just ignore it and continue watching the platform grow. Oh, and by the way, my biosludge storage is still full after all of this, so it's time to add a second storage tank, as trash is accumulating on my platform, and I don't really like it. I wish I could say the same about my data cards, which was up to 10,000 at one point, but now it is not. Tier 3 pink science, complete. And we only need to research 3 things, so I don't need a lot, which is good, because I'm running out of holmium. Science created, and things undergoing research. I don't even know what quantum processors are, and hopefully we won't need to for a while. Supercomputers 2 and universal simulation complete. It is time to shake this platform up with more efficient recipes. Look at that simulation tree. Before we could only use a max of 3 different canisters to make yellow data, but now we can use all 4. Except I don't see the recipe. And now the resources are stuck in the output. I also don't see the recipe for more efficient formatting. And I'm guessing that's because it requires the supercomputer too, which needs quantum processors. And hey, there's both of them. Well, what does it take to make quantum processors then? Not as expensive as I thought. The most annoying part about this recipe isn't even the data card. It's the holmium, as again, I'm now out. We'll leave this here for 2 reasons. 1, I feel like I've completed a lot and hopefully I can add the next 2 tiers of the science for the other 3 with ease, as hopefully I got through all the bugs in this video. And number 2, My storage is almost full. I sent my broken SSD away for warranty, and in the meantime I bought a smaller one. Maybe a little bit too small. Anyways, thank you for watching. Feel free to like or subscribe, as I do intend on completing this series, even if it does take me a while to actually upload everything thanks to dying hard drives. I'll hopefully see you in the next part. Thank you, and have fun.